Now I'll be completely honest when saying I'm not the richest or most fortunate when it comes to finances. Hell, I got a Nintendo Switch 2 years after its initial release in March of 2017, and even still I didn't even get a game with it. I had to sell my PS4 and Wii U just to get the console alone, but I do plan on picking up both consoles again once I come up with the money. I'd love to review some of the games only exclusive to the Wii U and PS4, I think it'd be pretty fun. Of course, since I didn't have any games with my Nintendo Switch and no money, I looked towards the free games section on the Nintendo eShop. The free games section on the Nintendo eShop is actually not that bad. It gives you Warframe, Fortnite, Brawlhalla, Pokemon Quest, DC Universe Online, Tetris 99, the Nintendo Entertainment System Service, and Dawn of the Breakers. Of course, the only free games I'd actually care about would be Warframe and Dawn of the Breakers, so that's what we're going to be looking at today. And by today I mean Dawn of the Breakers. Maybe I'll look at Warframe one day, but whatever, on with the show. Dawn of the Breakers is an interesting game. It harbors mechanics similar to traditional style JRPG titles such as the Persona series or Pokemon, while also having an action RPG style of gameplay with rockin' tunes, colorful characters, and some of the most unique dialogue I've seen in at least 2 or 3 years, give or take. Also, you need a pretty decent internet connection in order to play this game, and let's just say my internet connection is pretty shit, so naturally that caused me to disconnect from the game's servers multiple times. Now, this wouldn't be as bad if it were an online only game where you play with random strangers all the time, but the problem is if you're playing the single player campaign, you know, where you play by yourself, then you shouldn't need internet to play the game's intended single player mode. To me that feels like they're contradicting the entire point of a single player campaign mode, but whatever. The game was released on mobile devices, the Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows and Steam in 2018 with a fair amount of content to boot. A complete story, decent roster of characters, and again, I must add, some really good music. You may be asking, how do I know so much about the game if I got my Nintendo Switch in 2019? And the answer is research. Now, I never played this game on PC, but I did play it on mobile, more preferably the iPhone, and the Nintendo Switch, which is actually the version we're going to be looking at today. I would look at the mobile version, but I honestly haven't played too much of it, and I'll be damned if I'm going to look at this game on my iPhone SE. And with all that being said, let's break into what makes Dawn of the Breakers a smash hit on the Nintendo Switch. The title screen is by far one of my most favorite aspects of the entire game. It's got a catchy tune, shows off the unique logo and a nice variety of colors, and the transition is phenomenal. Showing off all the main characters of the game and having them pop up on screen in such a creative and distinctive way really left a good first impression on me and got me excited and hyped up for what to expect next in the game. The logo for Dawn of the Breakers is a colorful masterpiece. It adds the beautiful color combination of red, blue, purple, green, yellow, and orange with a little shine effect that slides across the logo to show that this game means business. There's even a little flame design behind the text because fire, am I right? That's so clever. I love when video games have a unique logo. To me it shows and symbolizes what the game is going to be about before you even get the chance to play it, especially when they're all bright and colorful like this game is. I can understand simplicity with video game logos as well. Not everyone wants to make a super unnecessary game logo that looks like it took more effort than the initial game, the main reason why you're buying the product. Hell, the Persona series has some of the most basic looking logos out there, and I love those games. Simple logo and design, but the presentation and overall aesthetic make the games stand out as their own JRPG titles, and that's something I can appreciate. I could go on for hours about how much I love video game logos, but we unfortunately don't have the time for that, so on to the story. You play as a high school student in modern Japan tasked with the objective to take down the mysterious creatures known as ghouls, a race of, well, ghouls who intend to wage war against the human race, and it's up to you alongside 5 other characters known as the Breakers to take each and every one of them down. This is actually pretty simple for the overall story. It doesn't feel as convoluted and overwhelming compared to other RPGs like Kingdom Hearts and the Persona series. Don't get me wrong, I love those games' stories. Well, Personas anyway. I can only take so many spin-off games being shoved down my throat just to understand the main story at once. Simplicity is just what this game's story needs in order to draw new people in, and I'm definitely not complaining. The characters are where the story alongside the game itself really shines with its level of personality. Each character has their own distinct color and personality type varying from silver, red, green, blue, pink, and yellow. The silver color is a mysterious, calm type during most situations. This can help when times get tough during a lot of emergencies, and it's honestly one of my favorite personality types out of the bunch. The red color is the hot-headed, determined type, always striving to get stronger and be better. This is my most favorite one out of the bunch, not only because the color is red, my all-time favorite color, but also because it's really inspiring to see characters like this being hard on themselves to become stronger both physically and mentally. The blue color is the intelligent type, which can be helpful in situations that require strategizing, which is another one of my favorite personality types. The green color is the athletic type, and I really have no comment on this one because I'm not athletic. Moving on. The pink color is the cute, cheerful, and fierce type, which is what every team needs in my opinion. A cute girl to distract you from the bad stuff going on around you, but if you get too distracted then she may slap some sense into you, which is actually pretty stereotypical at this point. Oh my god. Pink hair and green eyes must be the norm in every video game nowadays, huh? And lastly, the yellow color, which is the elegant, beautiful type, and I also have no comment on this one. I mean, it's cool, but what else am I supposed to say? I mean, I'm not elegant or beautiful, so I have no opinion on something I can't relate to. The characters, colors, and their personality types all mesh pretty well with the overall story and dialogue. There are heated moments, happy moments, funny moments, and pretty much everything you'd normally expect with a group of friends in high school. They all develop in their own way, and there's some fun to be had while watching them bicker and then start joking around with each other. It really adds to the immersion and feels like they're really close to each other genuinely instead of the game making it feel forced, like Sonic Forces. The story mode is also episodic with multiple parts running throughout each episode. You navigate throughout each part of the story in a board game like Hub World instead of the traditional open world setting. Within the board game-esque Hub Worlds, you're able to obtain different items that could help with taking down enemies, multiple dialogue cutscene triggers, as well as multiple enemy sections that you'll have to tackle. And I can say with full confidence that you will need some of these items like the boost of health and power, because some of these enemies don't know when to quit. Seriously, I fought the same enemies like 7 times on the same episode. Once you've advanced throughout the board game sections, you're then given a boss fight at the end of every part of the story you're progressing through. If I can be completely honest about the board game setting, I think it's pretty unique and has some really good music. The navigation is simple enough for even a toddler to understand, and the item placement really revolves around how you go about picking the set number of spaces you want to move to. I do think it would be pretty interesting to see how this game would play with an open world environment as well, considering all of the characters have this sort of chibi adorable look to them when you're in actual gameplay segments. Going back to the boss fights for a minute, they're pretty easy as long as you know how to dodge, block, and level up the main character you're playing as with the items you obtain throughout the board game hub worlds, which I'll get into later, as there is an easier, faster way to gain more strength, health, power, and stamina for your characters, and overall level them up entirely. The boss fights get more and more difficult as the story progresses, which is to be expected in any game with a set story, so that is a good mechanic to keep the experience a lot more ongoing and engaging in order to expect more and keep the gameplay momentum going. It really adds to the overall experience and makes the game feel a lot more challenging and rewarding instead of the game feeling simple and easy the more you progress. Since we've gotten this far, I think it's a good time to talk about the other game modes and different options you can go through in the game's main menu. The menu presentation is phenomenal. It has good music, the navigation is simple with each member of your party, or in this game's terms, your team, being shown every time you navigate throughout the main menu, which you can also scroll through by pressing the L and R bumpers on your preferred controller, with their in-game models doing a nice little wave at you each time you scroll through to a different character. I mean, come on, look at that, that's adorable. There are multiple different game modes and options like the quest mode, which acts as the main story for the game, as well as having its own single player quest mode that vary from daily quests to more challenging quests that you need to be a certain level to unlock. There's a co-op quest mode where you can play multiple quests with random players or friends. A team organizer where you can organize the team that you play as throughout the main story and the single player quest, as well as being where you can enhance and awaken your team to level up their stats. And the final game mode is the arena mode where you play 1v1 or 3v3 ranked matches or quick matches for a boost in your online ranking score. Now I want to go over all of these different modes in depth, that way everyone can get a better understanding on how these different game modes play and operate, as not every game mode and option is the same, so we're going to start with the co-op quests first. The co-op quests. The one game mode I haven't really sunk too much of my teeth into, mainly because the player base is almost as dead as my self-esteem and is nearly impossible to beat if you 1. Don't have a high enough level character who can hold their own against the different hordes of enemies, and 2. Have someone reliable to help you take on the quests. Now at the time of this recording, I currently have played the co-op quest by myself, which is something I do not recommend. Play this game mode with a friend or anyone for that matter, especially if you don't have a high level character who can take on the different leveled enemies. Oh wait, finding players to actually play this game mode is close to impossible at this current time. I played with a friend in this game mode one time and I wasn't even recording, Jesus help me. I recommend playing the regular single player quests. Sure, they're a pain in the ass at times if you don't have a high enough level character, or not that many characters for that matter, but it definitely beats sitting in the quest mode waiting for the game to forcibly kick you out because you're waiting for an actual person to play this mode with you, and playing the quest by yourself kinda defeats the purpose of a co-op quest mode. Take it from me, I played these quests by myself and I felt so damn lonely, to the point where I wanted to play Linkin Park 3 Days Grace and get scared so I could paint my fingernails and toenails black. It's not fun. Now earlier I stated that there was an easier, faster way to level up the characters in your party, and that's thanks to the team mode, where you can organize the team that you will play as throughout the main story, as well as enhance and awaken your characters, which is basically a shortened abbreviation for leveling up all of your characters by enhancing their overall stats and awakening their full potential. And yes, I referenced Lego Ninjago in my video, alright, get off my back. Another thing you can do in the team mode is train with your characters to understand their different combos and abilities, which is pretty helpful considering you unlock new characters and want to try them out without having to do strenuous quests or play online just to see how your new characters will play, and figuring out which one is right for you definitely needs a mode like this. Other action RPGs and even some fighting games don't even have a training mode, so the fact that this game delivers on that is really beneficial to newcomers and competitive players alike. The arena mode is where the competitive side of Dawn of the Breakers really shines, having only 2 game modes, being ranked matches where you, alongside 2 other players, team up to take on another team of 3 to boost your online ranking score and go up in the grading system, or go down depending on if you lose, and the casual matches are where you can have a more laid back experience and duke it out for fun in a 1-on-1 or 3-on-3 fight, being entirely up to you. This is where I spent the majority of my time in the game if I found myself not playing through the story or doing quests, and I have to say that this game mode is really fun once you get the hang of how your opponents proceed to attack you. I got my ass handed to me multiple times in the ranked matches. I underestimated how good my opponents could be or how competitive this game truly is, and that's really cool that this game actually has a competitive scene somewhere. Sure, it's not EVO big and I doubt it has actual tournaments, but the fact that this game, with some of the most simple gameplay mechanics and cute adorable anime characters, can be even remotely competitive is really saying something for the future of this game if it were to get bigger. Could you imagine this game having tournaments? It'd be crazy. Now the casual matches are, like I said earlier, where you can have a more laid back chill experience, where you can fight 1-on-1 or 3-on-3 matches just for fun with no penalties if you want to lose. Just play. If you want my honest opinion, I prefer this over the ranked matches. It's not as competitive and there's a lot more fun being able to choose whether or not you want to play against 1 person or 3 with a team of 2 additional random players, which adds a lot more replayability, and I'm definitely not complaining. Now that we've gotten all of the game modes out of the way, let's get into the main part of any game, being the gameplay. The gameplay is for the most part very simple and easy to understand. You're placed in a 3D top-down-ish camera angle perspective with your main character and 2 teammates who fight alongside you with 3 additional characters you can switch from on the fly. And yes, I know that sounds overwhelming, but in actuality, it's really not. It kinda gives you a somewhat multiplayer beat-em-up style of gameplay without having any real players alongside you while playing through the single-player campaign or quest, and it feels a lot less lonely knowing that you do have someone there with you, even if they are being controlled by the computer. Man, I really need to get out more. The gameplay has you fighting with 2 main attacks, being your regular attack that deals the least amount of damage and your heavy attack? I never really know what to call this. At one point I thought it was their special attacks, but that's only usable when attacking your enemy enough times to fill up a sort of gauge, and it deals a significant amount of damage depending on how high your character is leveled. My god, this saved my life countless times when I found myself in a tight spot. I love the addition to this. It's really helpful in tight situations, trust me. Dawn of the Breakers is a game I can recommend to the more simplistic viewers when it comes to video games. Sure, it's not as complex as most other video games on the Nintendo Switch. Hell, even some of the free games feel more complex when comparing them to this game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm all for the simple style of gaming sometimes. The game has a lot of content spread within it, whether it be multiple upcoming events and event quests, being gifted items from cute anime girls just for launching the game every day, and ass loads of different characters and unique items. My only major gripe with the game is the fact that you need a stable internet connection to play the game in its entirety, which can be pretty annoying if you don't have the best internet connection like myself and just want to play the game. Overall, I think the game is fairly enjoyable and has a decent amount of stuff for you to do. Yeah, it's not as overwhelmingly enjoyable as the Persona series with all of the different activities and social links you can tackle, but Dawn of the Breakers is in a category of its own, and it's completely free, so if you want to try a new game on the Nintendo Switch, then I recommend this game. I also want to apologize for yet another long time hiatus after my last video. There are no excuses, I was just being lazy and procrastinated a lot, but I'm back and ready to keep pumping out more Skyward setting episodes like this one. Also, I have a capture card now, so that means I can record my own footage for games that I'll be reviewing in the future, as well as trying to get equipment for a camera. That way I can do little skits in these Skyward setting episodes to add a bit more humor to the more informative aspect of the show. And with that being said, the next game we're going to be looking at is Luigi's Mansion 3, so be on the lookout for whenever that episode comes out. Thanks for watching, I hope you all have an amazing day, and until next time.